Haunted Brick Church Road. I grew up in a haunted house and I didn't know it. I used to hear chains dragging metal moans and footsteps going up the stairs in the middle of the night. And one time I woke up because I felt a strong presence next to my bed, and I could have sworn I heard whispering voices. But it was until I moved out and went to college that I realized those were just my roommates. I think it's normal for people to want to believe in ghosts, vampires, werewolves, and magic, because who doesn't want to believe in something more? Sure, there are places where there are more reports of strange occurrences than others. But when it comes down to it, paranormal experiences happen all over the place. Some say they've seen spirits, while others claim their home is haunted. There are also those who claim to have seen Bigfoot. I'm not saying I believe all these reports, but I am saying that maybe there's something to it. For example, I'm pretty sure that I saw a ghost once. Let me explain. My name is Miranda Terry. I'm 28, and I grew up in the small southern town of Sellersburg, Indiana. Got into spooky, paranormal things as a young kid. Even if they kept me up at night. Still love paranormal stuff to this day. However, it took me nearly 10 years to realize I'd had a paranormal experience myself. I ran cross-country throughout school, and one of our usual routes passed Brick Church Cemetery. Just beyond the 2.5-mile mark on a rural back road, it's literally in the middle of nowhere. The road is dirt, barely wide enough for 2 cars to pass, lined with old farmhouses and cemeteries dating back to the late 1700s. It's creepy. Even today, there's something about the silence there that gets to me. It's hard to describe, but it's almost as if everything goes quiet when you're there. Birds stop chirping, leaves stop rustling, and you can hear yourself breathe. I always felt a little creeped out there, but nothing major. But then one night, during the summer after my senior year, I was running solo and turned around right after the bridge near the cemetery. As I turned around to head back, I glanced left and saw what looked like a white pointed sheet bouncing just above the treetops. It was moving like someone was riding an invisible horse. If I had to guess, the being was about 4 feet tall, whatever it was. I couldn't tell exactly because it was too far away. But its shape was humanoid, thin, like a person. Kind of swayed side to side as it moved forward. My stomach dropped. I panicked and sprinted as fast as I could, until I was a safe distance away. I don't remember much of the rest of the run. All I know is that I got home and immediately told my dad what I'd seen, but he just laughed and said it was probably just a deer, but I knew what I'd seen. There's no way a deer would move like that. Now, when I say that road is in the middle of nowhere, I mean it. There are barely any streetlights, and during the summer, it's so dark by the time I get off school that I basically have to run with the headlights of my car. The week before, I'd even running with a friend, and she'd even telling me about how she saw something similar, and how she'd called it the sheet ghost. She said that some kids in the neighborhood claimed that when they were out walking one night, they'd seen a ghost dressed in a white sheet. When I told her about what I'd seen, she said, "See, I told you. I tried to play it cool, but I was freaking out inside." Maybe it was just a really big piece of trash, I thought. Something like a bag or a plastic bag. Except that wouldn't explain why it moved like that. It was definitely a person-shaped object. I know that much. And the thing is, that cemetery is old. It's huge, and it's surrounded by trees. So it's easy to imagine that there are ghosts there. Well, to be honest, I don't know if I believe in ghosts, but that day I did see something. Something about the way it moved, and the fact that it was in the middle of nowhere made me think it was unhuman. One theory is that it could have been a deranged homeless person, but there aren't many homeless people in this area. And even if there were, I don't think they'd be wearing a white sheet. Also, that cemetery is surrounded by a black wrought iron fence, and there isn't a gate. It's just cows. And I know cows like to get into cemeteries, but I'm pretty sure if a homeless person snuck in, cows would have killed him. And I don't think a ghost would kill a homeless person, so I don't know. Maybe it was a sheet ghost. Maybe it was a homeless person. Maybe it was a cow. Maybe it was a deranged fan of ghost hunting TV shows that thought I was the ghost. Who knows? For years after, I never ran past that cemetery again. I'd stick to other paths through the woods, but I still thought about what I'd seen. Recently, I found a picture of the statue of a man on horseback, that S, in front of the church. And it looks a lot like what I saw, only instead of a horse, it was an invisible horse. It was hard to describe what I saw that day, because I never imagined a ghost would actually appear to me. Like, I knew ghosts were supposed to appear as translucent figures, but I never imagined that would actually look like. I suppose I pictured something more like Casper, if I'm honest. I still don't know if I believe in ghosts, but I do know that what I saw that day was real. When I was younger, I wanted to be a journalist, but now I'm a stay-at-home mom. Still, I'm hoping to go back to school for archaeology one day because I love history. History, I think, is the most fascinating subject. Well, what does history have to do with the story, you asked? Well, the only piece of information that makes sense to me is a rudimentary article I found online about a druidic cult that lived in the area long ago. The druids supposedly wore long white cloaks. Could this have been the ghost that I saw? Was it a spirit replaying an ancient event? Is that what's happening here? The ghost stuck reliving the same events over and over? I don't know. However, the idea that I saw a spirit explains a lot. The energy I felt that day, the sudden drop in temperature, the terror I felt. Yeah, it all makes sense. If I'm being honest, I really hope that I saw a ghost. I really wish I could believe in something beyond this world. Don't get me wrong, I'm not religious. I'm actually agnostic. But I've always believed in beings and realms beyond this world. Just don't know if we're supposed to see them or speak to them. Guess maybe some people are just meant to experience the paranormal, whether they believe in it or not. Despite what happened to me, I still don't consider myself a ghost hunter. I'm just a girl who likes reading paranormal romance novels and watching TV shows about people who hunt ghosts. But maybe I should try it. What do you think? Should I start ghost hunting? Let me know in the comments below. Even though I didn't get into journalism, I still love to tell stories, so I'm thinking about making more videos. Would you watch? Also, if you want to hear more paranormal stories, check out the series. Thanks for watching. Bye!